this is how the agenda looks today. We'll do a quick introduction and the basics of MQ, and then we'll go over the deployment options, what we have to offer, and we'll talk about MQ Advanced. My colleague Soundarya will be taking over MQ Advanced, and we'll also talk about our newest, greatest, and the latest release of MQ, which is 9.4, which just rolled out a month back. And we'll have some closing comments, and then we'll answer. We'll take up some questions. Right. If everyone can go on mute, that would be great. Thank you. So, what is MQ? So we'll cover some basics. I am sure there might be a lot of seasoned professionals who are using MQ, but we'll also make sure that we accommodate anybody who are new to MQ. So for some few minutes, we'll go through this, the basics of messaging. So why do we need a message? Basically, message is for communication between a producer and a consumer. So assume like a phone call. If anyone wants to speak, there should be some other person waiting at the other end who has to pick a call. And if the person doesn't pick a call, then you don't establish a communication. You don't deliver the message what you intend to, right? So that's where MQ comes into play. MQ is like a message producer will produce a message, and even if message consumer is not around, then the message is put in a queue. We maintain that message in a queue, and then once the consumer is back up and running, so the consumer will consume the message and then process further. So analogy, this is called our asynchronous messaging, where also called fire and forget. So in banking transactions, for example, if a message, if credit or a debit or any transaction has to happen, both the ends, the consumer and the producer should be around. So if one is not there, then the transaction gets haywire. So that's where MQ comes into play, where the messages are pass through a message queue, and then the consumer picks up for further processing. So what else options are available? This is the basics of messaging, but what options is available before I jump to MQ, right? So you can use a basic HTTP application, two applications communicating over HTTP protocol. So, but that again, that is very simple to handle. But again, it comes with its own pros and cons, more of cons, right? In the terms of achieving, the security perspective, achieving transactionability. Also, from a scalability perspective, if you want to build not only one but thousands of applications, considering an enterprise, it will be a pretty big overhead. And also, if one of the application is lost, because it's all synchronous communication, when one of the applications is lost, you will lose the entire chain, and the message gets lost. So HTTP is one option, but it comes with its own cost. What about REST APIs? API is very buzzing thing in this world today. So what about REST APIs? You can use APIs to communicate between two services. Service B opens their API to here to service A, and then vice versa. But what if API again comes down? API can go down, the system can go down, the API is not available. Then again, your transaction is lost. Also, the serviceability perspective comes in, where it comes with its own cost again. And you can make it asynchronous, though they are synchronous by nature. You can make it asynchronous, but it comes with a lot of overheads. So that's where messaging MQ comes into play. So IBM MQ operates on these available three major patterns. One is a point-to-point messaging, where a producer, as I discussed in a couple of slides before, one is the producer puts a message on the queue, and the consumer consumes it when they are online or when they're for further processing. The second one is request response. There is a temporary queue which is created, where the message producer produces a queue and the producer waits for the message or an acknowledgement or a response from a consumer before proceeding further. So that is one of the pattern. And the other pattern is about producer and the publish subscribe, right? So there's a producer who publishes to a topic, and as a consumer, multiple consumer consumes by subscribing to the topic. A very good analogy is your flight information system, where if you want to get a message on your flight schedule of whether it's delayed on time or anything else, you subscribe to the notification from the airlines application, and then when the airline pushes the message to a topic, you as a subscriber get those notifications, right? So these are the main three different patterns that MQ operates. So why MQ? MQ is there, is there for 30 years. Now we are running the 31st year of the product, and we are kind of. No vendor can claim this because we are a very seasoned product, very running in a lot of big businesses doing a lot of mission critical transactions. So our main, one of the other main USP is the reliability, where we provide exactly once message. So whatever the message you are sending will be delivered exactly once. So not more than once, not less than once. That is 0 times. So it's exactly once, so that all your transactions can take place without any anything getting lost anywhere. From a security perspective, we offer a lot of protection, right from from the basic MQ base, where we provide basic security of the message, right up to the MQ advanced, where you will see later, where we'll do end-to-end encryption of the messages, even when the message is residing in the queue, so that your message, your entire message, the entire transaction is secure. And finally, from an IBM support perspective, our support is available 24/7/365. So you can count on our IBM support, technical support for help on anything whenever it's required. Right. So just a glimpse of clients across industry where all MQ operates. MQ, our clients spread across travel, finance, retail, automotive, health, and many more. But these are the predominant ones, and you can see these numbers. I'm not going to read, but there will be. We are there in almost every sector. Majority of our of the systems run MQ in the back end, right? So that's how that's where MQ adds an advantage. So what do our clients say? So we are on two major platforms called G2 and Trust Radius. They are our peer-to-peer platforms where clients like you can go and record your feedback. So consistently we hear a very positive feedback on both the systems. So we are consistently recorded as leader, where we have got 160 reviews, again on Trust Radius, 115 reviews, and they have their own scoring system. So, and the right side, you can see our scores, right? Or some of the snippets from these, from some of the feedback which is left by the clients. And continuing on this, we have our own further success stories. So where one of the Indian customer, many of you might be familiar, State Bank of India. So there is a platform called Yono. You only need one app. So Yono is an app where it's all in one app, right? So it's all in one app where you can book your flight tickets, you can do bank transactions, you can do whatever, right? So they have got lot of MQ, sorry, a lot of IBM applications running, but MQ is the one which is holding them together. They have the VAS, they have the FileNet content manager, they have the APIs. So, but all the transactions happen at the backend through MQ. And there is another big bank in New York, Bank of New York Mellon, where they run MQ because they trust on MQ because of the transactionability, because of the security, right? And because of the exactly once delivery, what we have. So we'll quickly run through our deployment options, right? So as many of you might know or might not know, MQ runs anywhere, right? So MQ runs on on-premise, MQ runs on public cloud, MQ is available as a SaaS, right? So when I said on-premise, we have, MQ runs in VMs, we can run in containers. It is available in Z platform, ZOS, there's an appliance version as well of MQ. So, and on public cloud, it supports multiple public clouds. And from a SaaS perspective, our cloud version, MQ on cloud version, we support our deployment in both IBM Cloud as well as Amazon Web Service, AWS. So MQ on distributed. So this is our most core offering or very famous offering, or where majority of the clients they are running MQ on hybrid cloud, where these are the theme: flexibility, reliability, and openness. They are the themes, major themes that factors in why they are running MQ in. And there is, as I said, there is a ZOS edition as well. MQ for on ZOS, a Z mainframe. So high performance, security, and resiliency are one of the key major factors, where the clients consider running MQ on ZOS. And there's appliance. Appliance is is like a hardware product where MQ Advanced, right? So what we are talking about today, MQ Advanced comes bundled in a box. So this box is like a plug and play where you take the box, you boot it up, and then you start running MQ with configurations, and then and you can, and it's proven about these performance: 1 million non-persistent message, 320,000 persistent message per second. We achieve this performance in appliance. So this performance, security, and the lower cost of ownership, right, is again one of the three major factors. So as I was telling, we have our own cloud service as well, MQ on cloud, the SaaS version. So it's fully managed by IBM, so it runs on IBM Cloud. And on IBM Cloud, we support 4 data centers. But when you deploy, you can choose deploying on AWS data centers as well, which is in US East and Ireland. And it comes with MQ Advanced. And as you know, we are not, though we are 30-year young product, so we do support modernization. That is one of our core themes. So we do have MQ run on containers. We do support containers. Red Hat OpenShift. Anywhere else apart from Red Hat OpenShift, we allow to build a container and run it. So and there is a cloud pack for integration where where we also MQ runs on containers, in containers on the cloud pack for integration as well. And this is the very new thing which we have come up. This is MQ. If you have AWS credits, this is MQ software, not SaaS. This is MQ software. We have just launched a couple of months back our MQ on AWS Marketplace. So if you have AWS, if you want to run MQ software on AWS, you want to spend some AWS credits, then you can go to our AWS Marketplace, and there is the MQ and MQ Advanced. You can purchase from from this marketplace. There's both private offer and public offer available. All right. So that covered the basics of MQ and where we operate. So right now, so I'll hand it over to my colleague Soundarya, who will take further on the MQ Advanced. Yeah.
Hope I'm audible. Let's just move to the next slide. So like you can see here, MQ software is available in 2 editions. One is MQ, just a second. Yeah, one is, why? Yeah, I think we're good. It's an echo, no?
Can you share? Just one second. Can you just give us a minute? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about the glitch. So software today is available in two editions, MQ, which is popularly known as MQ Base, and MQ Advanced, which is what we'll be talking about for the next few minutes. So MQ Advanced has got all the core capabilities of MQ, plus certain additional capabilities such as manage file transfer, advanced message security, and specific options for high availability. And MQ Advanced Entitlement also lets you deploy MQ in containers, specifically OpenShift, where we do have an MQ operator that will help do it very quickly. So overall, the MQ Advanced capability can be broadly put across three pillars. One is reliability, connectivity, and security. So when you talk about reliability, something that's already available in IBM MQ Base is multi-instance queue manager, which does have an instance of queue manager running on two servers, one active and one standby. And the standby doesn't do any active processing and will take over from the active if and when it goes down. And it uses a shared network storage system where it stores the queue manager logs, which the standby instance uses when it has to become the active instance. Now, with IBM MQ Advanced, we have two other high availability options. The first one that you see here is replicated data queue manager, also called as RDQM, which is a Linux-only high availability solution that we have, which doesn't have the need for a shared file system. So you have three servers configured in a high availability group, and one instance is running the queue manager, which synchronously replicates data to the other two instances. So if this instance fails, then one of the other two instances takes over, and it has the data up to date for it to operate with, and the external applications can connect to the active queue manager now. So there's one point to note when it comes to licensing. When it comes to licensing, the primary node or the active node is licensed with MQ Advanced, and the other two nodes are licensed with MQ Advanced HA replica. The other high availability solution that we have, like I said, RDQM is something that works only on Linux systems. So we do have native high availability available as part of MQ entitlement, which is available today in our OpenShift and Kubernetes when you use MQ in containers on OpenShift and Kubernetes. It again consists of three nodes. It consists of three nodes, each again with the instance of queue manager running, and there's a leader and two follower nodes. And when the active instance goes down, then you have one of the follower nodes that becomes an active instance, and the data is available to the other follower instance so that the application will not face an issue. The licensing, when it comes to native high availability, is that the active instance is licensed with MQ Advanced, and the other two instances doesn't require specific licensing. It's included as part of the Advanced.
So what is the difference between the one in the RDQM and this advanced reliability?
Yes, so the RDQM is something that's available only on Linux system. It will work only on Linux systems, and native high availability is available on OpenShift and Kubernetes. Both are part of MQ Advanced entitlement.
Okay. And with respect to RDQM, do we need any operating system level prerequisites, for example, pacemaker, etc., for maintaining the quorum?
Yes, RDQM does come with additional components, and one of it is pacemaker, and the other one is it's called a database replication, if I'm not wrong. So which is required to maintain, to configure the quorum and also maintain the replication. These two components are required as part of RDQM setup.
Okay. And what about this one, this native high availability? This one, is there any prerequisites like that? Do we need a pacemaker, and do we need any prereq for this one?
No, native HA doesn't require any such prerequisites.
Okay. And both of them are synchronous replication or asynchronous?
Both of them are synchronous replication.
Okay. Okay. And that is made possible because of that pacemaker heartbeat signals. Is that right? Or
Yes, that's correct.
okay. Okay. Thanks. And we don't need NFS for both of these options, right? It's all individual storage, internal storage, right?
Yes, that's right. NFS
Okay.
is something that's required for multi-instance queue manager.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay. This is a quick demonstration that showcases how native high availability works. So this is again the Red Hat OpenShift console where we are basically installing a queue manager. We have the operator installed. So this is where you choose the appropriate license identifier, depending on whether you're looking at production or non-production. You choose the latest version of the queue manager. And in the availability is where you choose the kind of availability that you want. Here we are going ahead with native HA. So the queue manager here is created, and you can see that there are 3 instances of queue manager that's created with one that's ready and active, and the other 2 are followers or standby. So when you go and delete one of the instance, I mean, I'm just doing it for the demo purpose. You can see that the other queue manager becomes the active instance almost instantly. So now this becomes the active instance, and the other queue manager which went down would continue to remain the standby.
Yeah, apart from Red Hat OpenShift platform, like is it supported in like let's say that we have our own Kubernetes clusters, right? Like how do we what options do we have for deployment as a container of IBM MQ? Like we
So
have
today,
options.
yeah. So today we provide an operator, MQ operator, that works on OpenShift. But MQ is supported on Kubernetes as well, but we do not have an operator for Kubernetes at the moment. So we do have a sample container image and a sample Helm chart that's available, and the customer can build their own containers.
Okay. But it may not the sample operators in the sense it will support this native HA, or is it
Yes,
like
native HA is supported in Kubernetes. But like I said, because it's a sample Helm chart and a container image that we are talking about, it is not covered under IBM MQ support. So in such a case where the customer is building their own containers, IBM MQ will support only the MQ that's running within the containers and not the container artifacts. So for full support of container artifacts, we require customers to use MQ operator, which is today available on OpenShift only.
Okay. And the operator does support RDQM also, or only native HA?
No. RDQM is something that's available only on Linux. On OpenShift and Kubernetes, only native HA is supported.
And multi-instance.
And multi-instance queue manager as well, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, are there
You can have a single with Kubernetes or with the OpenShift operator, MQ operator, you can have a single instance where you rely on the Kubernetes system to move the pod around, but that does have some drawbacks. Sometimes if a whole worker node goes down, the pod won't get rescheduled because of this. It's a stateful set, and Kubernetes doesn't know for sure that it's not still running. So with multi-instance and Native HA, we overcome that because IBM MQ is managing the startup and shutdown of the queue manager in the pod.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Are there any plans to introduce replication of data between two clusters in two different regions as far as native HA is concerned? I'm asking this question in terms of having DR capabilities for the whole Kubernetes cluster.
Yes, so native DR is something that's not available today and is in plans. You know, it's in plans, but we'll let you know the dates shortly. We don't have a commitment as on today.
Yeah,
But-
okay, thank you.
Yeah, hello. I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, Andrea. Like I have one of the client over here, which is having a DC, DR, and NDR. In this, it is a Linux machine. So we have just have a planning to have a RDKM setup that will be active all three sides. So will my all three servers will have the license costing?
You're talking about licensing when it's a DR setup for RDQM?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So it's licensed just the way RDQM high availability is licensed. One active instance will be licensed with MQ Advanced, and the other two would be licensed with MQ Advanced High Availability Replica. Similarly, the DR instance would also be licensed.
Okay. So at the case, if I'm running my queue manager in DC, that is a node one, and due to some disaster happened on my DC side, so I'm moving to DR. So in that case, there will be no lag of message. My question is that we have a common mount point to all three servers, correct? All three sites, node one, node two, node three.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. So
Okay. So if in case, if I'm having a HA setup, and I'm just having an example. In my HA setup, I have an active passive node in which I have a common mount point as an MQ path of whatever. So my complete MQ data logs and will be stored on that. But in case of RDQ, I'm having a three node from three different locations. So where will be my common point? Will be common for all three, or it will be default?
I think the question was, will there be 3 copies of the data on all 3 sites? Yes, there will be.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the and that does raise a point about that. With RDQM, it replicates the whole log and data. One of the advantages of native HA is that we only replicate the transaction log, so there's less data actually being replicated between the systems.
In case of RDQM, can I have the 3 queue managers across 3 different regions, and will it still work? I mean, like
there's a restriction on the latency for the synchronous replication. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's 10 milliseconds. I'd have to double check that, but it's in that sort of order. So there's a limit to how far you can stretch those nodes because of the synchronous replication if you go beyond that distance. So it depends what you define as a region. You could certainly do it in I think if you look at like AWS, for instance, you know, say they quite often have availability zones within a region. Say like Dublin has 3 data centers, but they are spaced apart, but they're all within that 10 millisecond latency. So you couldn't go from like New York to London or something like that because that would just be too far. You'd need asynchronous replication for that.
But do we have options to choose, like say, you know, like asynchronous instead of synchronous? Let's say I want to sync every, you know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
No. The asynchronous replication for RDQM happens as soon as it can. But if you use something like multi-instance, you could use a storage provider that provides that. I think NetApp on AWS has the capability to do like a snapshot every like 5 minutes or something like that. So I think you'd need to look at a storage provider for that. All of our asynchronous replication happens as fast as it can.
We have limitations with respect to the storage. So, but we want both HA, excuse me, both HA and DR. I just want to check if we can have RDQM spread across regions. That makes more sense for both disaster recovery and high availability.
You could have HA plus DR for RDQM, so you could run 3-node HA in a single data center in one region, and then have asynchronous replication to another 3 nodes that are highly available in another region. You can do that with RDQM.
Okay, but how does that sync happens between the one region to other region, like
asynchronous between the regions?
Okay, that is possible still?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thanks, Martin. If there is any documentation that you could share for that, like I can.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of documentation on this, and there's some diagrams and pictures on the document on the website. But if you still got questions, come back to us and we'll help you with those.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks. So yeah, so we'll move on to another capability that's available as part of MQ Advanced, which is having MQ source and sink connectors. So MQ and Kafka today specializes in different aspects, and I think Pradeep will probably cover it as part of 9.4. But there's a framework called Kafka Connect that provides, which is a framework for moving data from and to Kafka through connectors. So IBM today provides connectors for use with MQ, and there's something called source connectors, which sources or transfers data from MQ directly into Kafka to a Kafka topic. And there's a sink connector, which consumes events from a Kafka topic and sends them as messages to MQ. So these connectors are today available as part of MQ Advanced entitlement. In case you would want to use, in case you would want to move data from MQ to Kafka and use the data for further analysis. Another capability that's available as part of Advanced is Manage File Transfer, which helps transfer files across MQ network. So since it's built on top of MQ, there's assurance for security. And there is, again, a way for you to manage and configure the file transfers through a console. So Manage File Transfer also can convert files to messages, which is useful in situations where there are applications that today which doesn't have a way to work with messages, and which has a way to work only with files. So MFT can transfer those files into messages and ensures that it is transferred across the MQ network. Aspera is, again, something that's included as part of MQ Advanced, especially when you're communicating, when there's communication that's required between queue managers that are quite far from each other. It can help improve the speed of data transfer, especially when the network is not great. MQ telemetry is something that's, again, included as part of MQ Advanced, where where the MQ telemetry component is fully integrated with MQ. MQ can use the publish and subscribe apps to communicate with the MQTT client applications. So MQTT messages can translate the MQTT messages to standard MQ messages, which can connect with other telemetry devices and ensure that the data is sent across these applications and MQ. We do have advanced message security as one of the value propositions of MQ Advanced. So advanced message security is again that's available on top of what MQ already provides as part of security. So advanced message security provides protection of data in transit and at rest by protecting data integrity and privacy. So when you talk about integrity, there's digital signing that's available, which ensures transparency on who created the message and the fact that the message has not been tampered with. For privacy, we do have encryption, which ensures that the data is available only to the intended recipients. This is just a quick summary of what's available today in MQ base and advanced, and highlighting some of the differences that we just spoke about. All of this is bundled as part of MQ Advanced. So when you purchase MQ Advanced entitlement, all the capabilities that we spoke of is bundled and available for use. This is a quick case study that we have of Air Canada. And this slide basically summarizes how was it before modernization, and how was it what has changed once they've started deploying MQ in containers. So you can see some of the differences, which also talks about some of the benefits when you move to containers, which ensures that the deployment is in minutes. There are a lot of reduction in manual intervention, and today they've been able to process 12.5 million messages per day. So there's a link that's available. There's a YouTube video that's available where the journey of Air Canada is spoken of. So today they use MQ on AWS OpenShift platform, which is the ROSA service that you might be aware of, Red Hat OpenShift service. This is a quick summary of why should one go for MQ Advanced. So it again talks about the 3 pillars that we spoke of, where you improve resilience and availability, strengthening security through advanced message security services, and achieving operational efficiency by having a supported container image and operator in OpenShift. Okay, so this is the delivery cadence that we have for MQ. Most of you might have seen it before. Like Pradeep spoke of, we are currently, recently a month back came up with our long-term support version, which is the 9.4 version, which has got all the features from 9.3.1 until 9.3.5 rolled up to the long-term support release. Apart from the long-term support release, we do have continuous delivery releases, which comes out once in 4 months, which will have incremental capabilities that we keep introducing across all form factors. 9.4 that we have, which is the latest release, focuses all the capabilities that we have as part of 9.4 focuses on these 4 themes overall. And we're calling it built for change because MQ ensures that depending on the way it's changing, depending on all the modernization that's happening, MQ keeps evolving. And MQ 9.4 has got a lot of features that's focusing on security and modernizing, which we will look at the next few slides. Okay, this got a lot of features, a quick snapshot of what's available as part of 9.4 across all the form factors. We'll talk about specific ones in the next few slides. Okay. Before that, this is just one change that you should be aware of. From 9.4, the support policy has for MQ has changed. So now MQ follows 5 plus 1 plus 3-year support, and what you see here is 5 is the standard support, which remains unchanged, which is like before. And we've got 1-year extended support, which includes security fixes as well. And then there's an extended on support for 3 years, which is only usage and known defect support. This is an IBM-wide change, and that's something that MQ has also adopted as part of 9.4. So one of the key capabilities that we have as part of 9.4 is having token-based authentication. So I mean, very briefly, client applications can provide tokens to authenticate a queue manager. The queue manager must be configured to accept these tokens. So token-based authentication is again a passwordless approach to authenticating users and applications. So instead of directly supplying the credentials to every application that you work with, there's an authorization server which acts as the issuer and which issues a token, which establishes identity, which can be given to IBM MQ or any application that you work with that supports token-based authentication to authenticate the user. So in 9.4, there's also been an enhancement which supports JSON web key sets, which is again a standard approach for managing and distributing keys, which is essential for using token-based authentication the most optimal way. We do have open telemetry support that we've introduced as part of 9.4. So telemetry basically enables you to observe how application behaves when data flows end to end. So MQ provides a tracing service today that lets you integrate with an open telemetry framework that you can use to track what exactly is happening in the data.
Okay, so thanks, Sundari. So some of the other features, right? So of 9.4 is predominantly on the console, on the usability part of it. So as you know, MQ console is our major tool which enables administrators to do all the queue managers, maintaining the queue managers, different functionalities available on MQ console. So what we have done is in 9.4 release, which is again, as Soundarya told, it is an accumulative release of all the continuous delivery we had. So we have, you can click on those. Yeah. So we have got an overview dashboard where we have picked majority. I think one more. Yeah, we have picked all these key parameters which are often looked manually for example, if the queue manager, what is the memory, how much my queues are full or not, what is the MQ network activity going on, etc. So earlier clients used to do this on a manual or basis, but we figured a easy approach where we provided overview dashboard, and that dashboard provides all the key metrics at one go. So when you have this queue manager, when you open this overview dashboard, you'll get to see all this, key metrics at one go. So your time is saved, as well as you can take some proactive steps, in terms of if the queue is getting full, you can create some new queue, can transfer, etc. Right. So next one.
No, does it have audit level information as well? Let's say like if you change the queue property from alias, let's say from normal local queue to cluster queue. So does it have some kind of audit level information like this queue has been changed to cluster queue?
Martin, do you have any thought on this?
Sorry, I was looking at the chat questions. Could you repeat the question, please?
No, so this IBM MQ console, so does it have any audit level information? Let's say like if you change the queue depth from 5,000 to 10,000, or if you change the local queue to cluster queue, so does
not at the moment, but that's something we do have on our something we're looking at. So I think that would fall under being able to. Got a lot of echo on the line. Look at the event messages, the PCF messages. That, yeah. So yeah, that's something we have on our list.
okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Martin. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not there presently.
Thanks. So continuing with this dashboards improvement, right? So apart from that overview dashboard, what we saw, there is an application dashboard and a MQ network tabs, dashboard, which is, kind of new tabs available specific to, for administrators to do the, to figure out the application connectivity, queue manager to queue manager networking, etc. So yeah, so this you can, you will see these changes when you go for 9.4. So one another, it's quite simple to know, but it's a very good change is the MQ console now recognizes localized time zone. So what happens is MQ console is managing queue managers across multiple regions. So before 9.4, the MQ console was showing them the queue manager time zone in the respective where MQ console is running. So now what happens is it shows the time in where your queue manager is running. So basically, if you have a queue manager in UK, one in Singapore, so it will show the local time rather than the console specific time. So why this should be important? This is important because in terms of debugging or in terms of any proactive change, any proactive steps to be taken in terms of recognizing the time. So this change will come, will be helpful. So that's what gone in 9.4. And talking about Kafka, I think Saundarya highlighted some of the Kafka available, connectors available. So MQ and Kafka go hand in hand, right? So where MQ provides all the information, all the messages, and then Kafka provides the real-time event streaming capability from from the Kafka queue. So what it does is, so MQ and Kafka, we provided the Kafka connectors. So next slide. So where the data flow can be uninterrupted between the MQ and the Kafka. So directly you can say application can can put the message to the Kafka, or it can using the publish subscribe you can do it, or the streaming queue. So Kafka connectors, no, that's fine. I think Kafka connectors are available. Source and sync, where the version 1, which we came before 9.4, is the unsupported open source, specifically available for MQ. So what is difference between version 1 and version 2 is version 2 assures you once again only once delivery or assured deliveries of supported connectors of Kafka. So that's available on MQ Advanced, right? So version 2 is where you can say, your messages are exactly once. Before version 2, the messages could have been replicated or could have been duplicated, but in line with our MQ messaging that we support exactly once delivery. So even in the Kafka connectors, we support the exactly once delivery of messages. And other notable feature is LZ4 compression. LZ4 is a lossless, LZ4 is a lossless data compression algorithm which enables you to communicate, communicate between queue managers and native HA replicated queue managers. So this enables you to have prioritized by speed or prioritized by compression, so that any network lag or delay you can kind of bring it down right through this compression. So LZ4 is one of the important ones in the market which we have adopted in MQ. Next slide. So uniform clusters is where your applications will be balanced across the queue managers. So uniform cluster capability, or it automatically moves connections to so that wherever the queue manager is seeing the less load, it takes over this the load, so that the load factor is taken care, right? So, and automatic balancing across a set of clusters with different applications, irrespective of the in which language the applications are written. So this uniform clustering takes care of it. And this is one of the good ones where we, on the AWS partner solution, we have partnered with AWS, right? To where you can deploy we can deploy your queue manager on the AWS Elastic Kubernetes Service, EKS. So and this helps in rapid deployment. It's very resilient connectivity. So and whoever is looking for an or for a solution on AWS, they can achieve it through through one of this solution what we have. Right. So in closing, what do we have is we have explored MQ, right? So if you are new to MQ, so you can we have told about MQ. There is a free MQ course available. There is a Learn MQ, which is badges available, where you can quickly learn on MQ what's there, and then you can build the queue manager in 15 minutes or so. So if you're an existing user of MQ and if you're using MQ base, so we highly recommend you to move to MQ Advanced. As you have seen, MQ Advanced, and that too version 9.4, because version 9.3, which came 2 years back, was our long-term support release. Now, after 2 years, version 4 is our new long-term support release. And this has, as you have seen, a glimpse of what we have in 9.4. There's a bunch of new capabilities available. So, and MQ Advanced, as you have seen, is much more stronger than MQ Base, with the security perspective, the resiliency perspective, the connectivity perspective. So we definitely recommend to move to MQ Advanced and get those benefits. And if you next slide. And as I spoke before, we do support modernization. We want modernization. We want clients to go for modernization. So there is a modernization workshop which we can conduct, which we can help you without any cost. So there is a modernization briefing. There's a workshop, planning workshop, use case, and so if you need any assistance in planning how you can modernize your estate, right, MQ environment, then please do email us. So we will definitely come back and we'll help you, in going through the transformation journey. And finally, some of the key resources available. Of course, we have our website. We have our strong documentation where you get a lot of information. We have this MQ community where there's a blogs, there's a forum, there's webcasts. So a lot of discussion, which is very active discussions happening there. And we have got MQ podcast, where there's a doyoumq.com website where frequently there's a podcast being released to hear about what's happening in MQ, the latest and the greatest. And last but not the least, there is an early access program where you can join, and then it's kind of the beta program where you can join and you can see you can see what's coming up, and you can also tell what your thoughts are on MQ, how should we go forward. So please feel free to join this. So finally, please note this email ID as messaging@uk.ibm.com. If you have any questions on pricing, licensing, so we are there to help you. So, and then you can email us on this email ID.